Have you ever felt invisible? As if the whole world had forgotten you exist? Robert knew this feeling all too well. A street artist, 55 years old, wasted talent. But fate has a peculiar sense of humor, doesn't it? A wall, a spray can, an impulsive decision, and suddenly chaos. Headlines. Millions of dollars. Sounds crazy, right? But this story is real, and it's going to turn your world upside down. What happens when your greatest weakness becomes your strength? When your biggest mistake transforms into your greatest triumph? This isn't just a story about art. It's about redemption, about second chances, about the power of a single courageous action. In the next few minutes, you'll witness a transformation that defies all odds. A journey from rock bottom to the top of the world. But be warned, this story contains a dangerous truth. A truth that might make you question every choice you've ever made, every dream you've ever abandoned. Are you ready to discover what happens when you finally dare to be who you really are? Stay until the end, because in the last moment of this story, you'll receive a revelation that could change the course of your life. The clock is ticking. Your transformation begins now. But before we dive into this inspiring story, I want to extend a special invitation to you. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. This is crucial for the channel's growth and will ensure you're notified about new videos. Now that you've subscribed to the channel, I want to give you a very special tip. Have you ever thought about earning income from your home in dollars? Click the link in the description and see how you can make this happen. Now, let's get to today's video. Hello, you on the other side of the screen. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that will touch your heart and maybe even change your perspective on life. So, get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and let's embark together on this incredible journey that promises to be longer and full of fascinating details. Imagine a vast metropolis, one of those that seem to have been built to swallow people's dreams. Gray buildings stood like silent sentinels of lost hopes, and the incessant noise of traffic seemed to muffle the sighs of those who still dared to dream. In this urban and seemingly soulless setting lived a man named Robert. At 55, Robert carried on his shoulders not only the weight of his spray cans but also the burden of a life that didn't go as planned. He was a street artist, one of those who once dreamed of seeing his works in famous galleries, but now could barely find a space to express his art. Every morning, Robert looked at himself in the cracked mirror of his small apartment and muttered to himself, "Today will be different. Today someone will notice." But day after day, week after week, cruel reality struck him, and his words became increasingly empty. Have you ever felt like this? As if the world had turned its back on you and your dreams? Well, Robert was exactly at that point. His eyes, which once shone with creativity and hope, now looked like two empty wells of lost opportunities. One day, while walking the busy streets, Robert overheard two young people talking. "Dude, did you see that new artist who's blowing up on social media? They say he started by painting abandoned walls." "Seriously? But isn't that vandalism?" "No way. It's real art. The guy is revolutionizing the scene." Robert felt a pang in his chest. That could have been him years ago. But now he was just another face in the crowd, a failed dreamer. But you know how it is, sometimes fate has a funny way of messing with us. On a particularly cold morning, one of those that make you want to stay under the covers, Robert came across a huge abandoned wall in the outskirts of the city. It was as if that wall was screaming for color, for life. He stood there, motionless, for long minutes. His hand itched to grab the spray can, but his mind warned him, "What if they catch you? You're already too old for this, Robert." It was then that a voice interrupted his thoughts. It was an elderly lady carrying grocery bags. "Are you an artist?" she asked, noticing the spray cans in Robert's half-open backpack. "I used to be, ma'am. These days, I don't know what I am anymore." The lady smiled, her eyes shining with a wisdom that only years can bring. "You know, young man, art has no age. And that wall over there? It's begging for a bit of color. Maybe it's time for you to remember who you really are." With those words, she went on her way, leaving Robert speechless. And you know what he did? Without thinking twice, he started painting. Days passed, and that wall came to life. Robert worked as if there was no tomorrow, putting not just paint on that wall, but his entire soul. Every stroke, every color, told a story, his story. People passing by were amazed. Some stopped to chat. "Hey man, this is incredible. Do you have Instagram?" Robert laughed, shaking his head. "No, young man. My art is my social network." It was as if each brushstroke was washing away his bitterness and, surprise of surprises, igniting a flame of hope that he didn't even remember existed anymore. Now, you must be thinking, how beautiful, things are finally working out for Robert. Well, my dear, it's not all roses. When the mural was almost finished, guess what? The police showed up. "ID and identification, please," said the officer, with a serious expression. Robert felt his heart sink. "Officer, I was just trying to bring some beauty to this place." "Noble intentions don't change the fact that this is public property, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to come with me." And boom, Robert ended up behind bars. Sitting in the cold cell, he couldn't help but think, this is it. It's over. My last act as an artist was to become a criminal. But hold on, don't get discouraged yet. While Robert was at the police station, something incredible was happening outside. People started stopping in front of the mural, amazed. Photos were popping up on social media, and even the toughest art critics were intrigued by this mysterious work that appeared out of nowhere. "Have you seen this? It's simply spectacular," exclaimed a young influencer, broadcasting live to her thousands of followers. "This isn't vandalism, it's a masterpiece," declared a renowned art critic on his blog. And then, as if by magic, a famous gallery owner passed by. He was so impressed that he began a frantic search for the artist. "Who did this? We need to find this genius," he said to everyone he met. Imagine his face when he discovered that the genius behind that masterpiece was in jail. Robert's story went viral. Everyone was talking about the artist arrested for creating beauty in a forgotten place. Social media caught fire, and a campaign for Robert's release gained a strength that no one expected. #FreeRobert became a trending topic. Celebrities shared the story. A famous actor even tweeted, "If this is a crime, then arrest me too." With all this pressure, the authorities had to rethink the case. And wouldn't you know it, Robert was released? He left prison and was faced with a crowd. People he had never seen in his life, there, applauding and admiring his work. "Robert! Robert! Robert!" the crowd shouted as if he were a rock star. Stunned, he muttered to himself, "This must be a dream." But the cherry on top was yet to come. The mural, now protected and restored as if it were a national treasure, went to auction. And you won't believe the value it reached. It was such a high amount that Robert had to count the zeros several times to believe it. $3 million? He exclaimed, almost fainting when he saw the final auction value. Now, you must be wondering, and what did Robert do with all that money? Well, he could have bought a mansion, an imported car, traveled the world. But no, Robert decided to use that money to create a foundation to help other street artists and give a new face to abandoned areas of the city. "Art saved my life," he declared in an interview. "Now it's my turn to use art to save our city." It's amazing how life comes full circle, isn't it? Robert discovered that his true masterpiece wasn't that mural, as valuable as it was. It was the impact he could have on people's lives, on his community. Today, when you see Robert walking the streets, he's a different person. That bitter man was left in the past. Now, his eyes shine when he sees young artists expressing themselves freely in the spaces he helped legalize. "You see," he says to a group of young artists, "every wall is an opportunity. Every abandoned corner is an invitation to create. Never let anyone tell you that you can't change the world with your art." He understood that his journey from prison to redemption taught him the most valuable lesson of all, that persistence, passion, and the courage to express oneself can not only change a life but inspire an entire city. You know that wall that once imprisoned him? Well, it became the portal to his freedom. Robert understood that sometimes we need to face the greatest challenges to discover who we really are and the impact we can have on the world. And so, with each new brushstroke, each new mural, each life touched by his art and his story, Robert is reborn. He proves to all of us that it's never, ever too late to give color to our dreams and redesign our own destiny. You know, he says in his closing speech at the inauguration of another foundation project, "I used to think my life was a blank canvas that I had wasted. Now I understand that every experience, every disappointment, every moment of doubt was just another color in the palette I would use to create my masterpiece, my life." So, my dear listener, what do you think? Isn't this story incredible? It reminds us that, no matter how difficult life may seem, there's always hope. There's always a chance to transform our pain into something beautiful and meaningful. And you? What's your abandoned wall waiting to be transformed into a masterpiece? What talents do you have hidden, waiting to be shared with the world? Remember, sometimes what seems to be our biggest obstacle can become our greatest opportunity. As Robert would say, life is your blank canvas. Don't be afraid to use all the colors. Thank you for listening this far. If this story touched you in any way, don't forget to leave your like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one. Until next time, and remember, your life is your blank canvas. What will you paint on it today?